Hello, people. This is Lee Cole here, and I'm with Danny Trio. And we'd like to both wish you a happy Easter. So, Danny, you want to wish him a happy Easter?
Yeah, I just want to wish everybody out there a happy Easter, whether you like me or don't like me. And a shout out to Angel Gotti. Happy Easter, Angel.
And you know something? And the main reason that we weren't going to do a video today because it's Easter. We wanted to be good boys. But there's two very bad boys out there right now. They're acting up. So I think we got to kind of bring them back in line, Danny.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
Jimmy the Rat and also John Alite, who, when you think John Alite can hit a low, Danny, John Alite hit a low.
Mazza, whoever it is, Panisi, for some reason, their relevancy has to be in front of you. They have to have that factor because if they don't, they have nothing. So by Alite saying that John Gotti Sr. was a rat, that's just going to stir up more stuff and put him on a platform where people are going to talk, and that's what he wants.
And let me explain to you what he did. Alite came on and did a video. At the 13-minute mark of his video, he basically stated that John Jr. went and visited his father in prison and said that John Gotti in 1998 flipped. So for the next 4 years, this is so fucking funny. John Gotti Sr. was ratting. I don't know whether to laugh at this shit or what, Danny.
It is. I mean, you can't make this up. This is what they call a bozo clown show. This is what it is. You know, it's the same thing when they came out with this this rumor that Carmine Persico was a rat. I mean, I don't know. You know, I guess it's when things become complacent and there's nothing happening. Somebody's got to make something up so somebody talks. This guy is completely delusional. I don't know if he's on dope. I don't know what he's on.
Well, these two lowlives, and we're talking about Calandra and Alite, basically hit new lows. We're going to explain to you about Jimmy Calandra too. But first, Jimmy, you did a video today and you did not want to mention my name. Well, that's cool. So I'm going to remind people of how many times you like to mention my name. Here we go right here.
Yo, Lee Cole, you fat piece of shit. Lee Cole, who is a garbage can. Guy Cole, he'll do anything for subscribers.
On YouTube. I don't want to mention their name. I think they're pieces of shit. And I don't like them. And that's just where I stand with them.
He's nothing but a rat. He probably needs to go take a shower, go buy a bar of soap, and go clean your ass. You ugly fucking duckling, you. Today. Because I don't like certain people, as far as a guy, for example, Lee Cole, who is a garbage can, who spoke so badly about so many people, and then he's recording people. Cardboard goes in cardboard, plastic goes in plastic, all that stuff. That's what I do, Lee Cole, you fat piece of shit. So if you're associated with garbage cans like this, you will not be associated with... Yo, Lee Cole, you fat piece of shit.
I take that with pride.
Absolutely.
You know, and you know, Jimmy Calandra, and I'm going to show you a picture. I want you to give me your opinion of this picture when I show it to you. Let me see. Oh, here. Let me see if I got it here. Okay, wait a second. Okay. Here it is. What do you think of this picture when you see it?
Wow. Listen, you know, I don't know any of you guys know what Gravano looks like, but you know what ET stands for? You remember the movie? I mean, this guy is comical. Look at this guy. He's a shell. He's a shell. There's nothing to him, but he talks still like a gangster, and he's not. He's a shriveled up man who is a rat, and that's all he'll ever be.
And to make it clear, Jimmy Calandra went down and visited Sammy, paid for the visit, and basically Sammy put Jimmy Calandra on the map. Otherwise, okay, you were, what year did you go to prison, Danny?
Well, I went to prison. I got arrested in '86. I was out on bail. I took off. I went to Florida, and I stayed in Florida for 3 years, and then I got caught in Florida.
Now, you knew both Speros, right? To both
yeah,
brothers.
Sal, Anthony. Yeah.
Okay, and And what do you think? Now, Jimmy Calandra tries to say that a bunch of guys testified against Anthony Spero.
It's true.
Okay.
However, let me just clarify something. He's absolutely true. However, the jury, which is a fact, anybody can look it up, believed what Jimmy Calandra had to say more than anybody else. So with that being said, he swayed, per se, the jury. That's my belief. I mean, it's public knowledge. You know, don't take my word for it because I'm an idiot. I'm a small-minded person, and I'm really a loser, quote unquote. That's Jimmy Helmet Head. That's what he calls me. So, but anyway, that's why. Secondly, I believe, you know, Jimmy Calandra has a platform with a lot of listeners, and he can sway people's minds very easily. But he is on a public platform. If he doesn't want to be ridiculed or talked about, then I tell you what you do, Jimmy Calandra. You have so many followers. Make your site private, and you can only talk to the yes men that like you.
That's a great point. You know, we did, and I'm going to mention another thing. Jimmy Calandra, this is what he does. He likes to put out his Jimmy Dust, and it's unfortunate he went on one show of a guy I actually like from Florida. I'm not going to mention his show because I'm not going to knock it. And he threw some of his dust there, and then he went on and tried to do it to Lefty. But to give Lefty credit, and people, I'm going to go tell you to go sub to Lefty's channel. Lefty ambushed him because he was expecting to go in there and throw his Jimmy Dust on Lefty, and Lefty kind of gave him a run for his money. What did you think of that interview?
I thought the interview was very well. I mean, you know, Jimmy was in a defense mode because, quote unquote, he calls people like you or me or have no clue of the life idiots. They don't know anything. Okay. So with that being said, I thought the kid, you know, did a very good job. Some people might disagree, but it looked like Jimmy Calandra was mad. But to the kid's credit, Calandra went on his show. The kid didn't seek him out.
Yep. And see, this is what Jimmy does. Jimmy doesn't do it on his platform. He uses these other people. And then Jimmy, when you say to me, this nothing show, my show is actually doing quite well, and I haven't bothered you in a few months, but you know, we can take that off the board, Jimmy. Okay, you and I are going to become friends again, and this time I'm going to bring my new friend Danny Trio with me. So Jimmy, we're going to have some fun. And so Anthony Spero, one of the things he'll say, Danny, is that Anthony Spero used kids.
Right.
My explanation of that is all these families had kids around them, and those kids were there for a reason. Would you explain that, please?
Well, listen, these kids were very impressionable. I get it. However, you're in the street. You're a kid growing up, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and you see this constantly, hanging out at the social club, sitting in front with the chairs, what have you. All right. Now you become impressionable. Wow, I want to be like that, you know. But keep in mind, these kids know what's going on. They don't live in a shell. They knew who Anthony was, what he was about. They all did. So for him to put the blame instead of taking responsibility, he wants to pass the buck. And that's what he does and that's what most rats do. You know, they blame somebody else. Be a fucking man, pull your pants up, and tell the truth. You ratted because you wanted to get out from underneath what they were going to give you. Hence the 50 years that Jimmy was looking at. So his friend got killed. Okay. So that's a reason, you know, why he constitutes the fact that he became a rat. Okay. Does that hold any validity? Maybe in his mind, but you got to remember, they all knew what this life was about. They were brought up around it. Okay. So in essence, he got an easy way out and he took it. So he says, you know, a lot of times on his program that, you know, you shouldn't comment about only if you're a yes man to him. He comments all the time on his program that, you know, he did his time. Everybody leave him alone, per se. That's what he says, essentially. Why should we leave you alone? You're on a public platform. Again, I got an idea for you. Make it private, make it a pay site, and then you don't have to deal with people like me, small minds. Let me just tell you a little bit about my small mind, okay? I own my own business, all right? Meanwhile, I was convicted of murder. I own my own business. I own 2 homes, one in Florida and one in Blue Ridge, Georgia, okay? I own a truck and my son has a truck paid for. So I don't drive a Prius around Brooklyn.
Who drives a Prius?
Jimmy Calandra drives a Prius.
Oh, a Prius.
Yeah, pretty cool, ain't it? So he drives around Brooklyn to show Sammy's places, his places. I think he even showed where Santa Claus came down the first chimney. Okay, so with that being said, Jimmy, you know, you have a platform, a very successful one. Who are you to tell somebody what they can and can't do as far as commenting on you? Who are you?
And
I mean, realistically,
and another thing we have to remember, Danny, when he talks about the fact that Spero had Paulie D killed, here's what we have to remember: Paulie G or Paulie D, one of it. Okay,
Galino.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Galino. Yeah,
Paulie Galino. G. So let's remember about Paulie Galino. Paulie Galino, first of all, pushed Spero, so he signed his own death warrant.
Well, we got to remember, Spero pushed him to do that. That was all, you know, Spero made him do that.
Yes. And then on top of that, we have to remember too, Jimmy, after Spero did this, you still associated with him. When you got out of prison, you still associated with him. And Spero gave you to Matty Madonna because he didn't like you. He didn't trust you. You leave that part out. And you know what? Spero fucked up. Take it any way you want. Spero fucked up because he left Jimmy Calandra around.
Well, here, let's back up a little bit, and it's not a correction, but it's an opinion. I don't personally believe that he was on record with anybody. I mean, he could say he was. He could say that he was given to Matty Madonna. He could say what he wants. But I talked to some people, and whether you believe me or not, that's don't make no. I don't care. But I know that you weren't on record. But it makes for a good story.
And then Jimmy said yesterday, everybody out in the street was on record. 99% of the criminals on the street are not on record, Jimmy. Right. I don't know what the hell you're thinking.
They all did drugs. They all got high. They were cowboys. Call it for what it is. They were not banana associates like the papers deemed them, like he talks about. I don't know how. Anyway, that's another story. But as far as I'm concerned, the people that I've talked to that I know personally, he was never on record.
And when you put up Paulie G and make him a legend, remember one thing. Paulie G made a mistake, pushed a man. Joey Calco and his friend put a bullet in his fucking head in the house. And Jimmy, do you think Jimmy would have done it if Jimmy was out in the street and Spero called Jimmy to his house and said, I want this done?
Here's a thought. It's just a thought. Jimmy Calandra's friend gets killed, right? Jimmy Calandra still hangs out there, still does what he does. Why didn't Jimmy Calandra go after Spero then? Boom. Like a man.
Exactly.
He had access to him.
He could have got right next to him.
So I'm just throwing a thought out there. You know, if the reason you ratted, or one of the reasons you ratted on Anthony Spero, by the way, was circumstantial evidence anyway, but you were able to pull it off. Why didn't you just go get Spero and be a man? Kill Spero. I mean, I don't know. That's the way I would think. If somebody hurt my mother, knocked it down, dragged it down the street, whatever, hit her in the head with a pipe, I'm coming for you. And you can rest assured, I don't care about jail. I'm going to get you. So his theory on why he ratted, or if it pertains to Galino, it doesn't hold water too much. It's just an excuse. Again, that's what they do. They all do it. Garano did it because John Gotti did this. Mazza did this because Scarfa fucked him in his ass. So, you know, there's always a premise to why they do what they do. They can't own up to it and say, look, I'm a rat. I did it. That's it. There's always an excuse. So,
what do you think? What do you think when you knew Spero, you knew his brother? How accessible was Anthony Spero to Calandra when Calandra got out? If Calandra wanted to get even,
Sally was at the club every day, and Spero was on the roof every day. Spero was accessible, particularly to them, to Jimmy. So it wouldn't be hard. You know, this is just a theory. I could be dead ass wrong. But
How many
I
how
don't
many
think I
times were
am.
you next to the Spero brothers?
I used to talk to Anthony all the time. Matter of fact, like I said before, and they're going to make jokes about it. I was the only guy he used to let inoculate the birds.
Well, you know what? That's see, Jimmy.
I mean, I didn't talk to him about murders and this, that, and the third. We talked about birds. We talked about life. He always used to joke with me and make fun of me. But, you know, that was a rapport. You know what I'm saying?
And did you ever hear him talking about the bad Bath Avenue boys?
No. And hey, listen, they were legendary. I'm not going to deny that fact. But they were legendary because they were just wild. They were kids that were running amok, and they were doing what they essentially wanted to do because, you know, they had, you know, a backing per se.
Now, another thing is, did you know Tommy Karate?
I knew Tommy Karate. I knew Tommy Karate to say hello. My uncle used to go in there once in a blue moon, his club, just us. But I didn't know Tommy Karate to have a, you know, long, drawn-out conversation with him. He wouldn't do that with me.
Now, one of the things is that they basically say Paulie G was being groomed by Tommy Karate.
That's very possible.
Could Tommy Karate went to Spero and say that Spero, can you please spare this Paulie G guy?
I don't think he's going to go to an acting captain and do that, or an acting boss and do that. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember, this life is a dog-eat-dog life. You know what I mean? I mean, there are circumstances where that could happen. Somebody goes to bat for you, but I don't know. You know, I'm not privy to that. I can only say what I know or think, whether I'm wrong or right, but that's my thought.
And how serious is it to push a boss?
Come on. You know, it's like walking up to the Pope in Rome and slapping the shit out of him. I mean,
and so in history, this has been done many times in the mobs when someone's been disrespected by a lower ranked guy.
Sure, you're going somewhere. You're going to be in the water.
Yeah. And sometimes guys think they're tougher than what they are bigger than what.
That's the whole thing. They think they're invincible because they're so hung up on that life, or high, and they don't think it's going to happen to me.
And what do you think about Jimmy bragging all the time that he has the certain people protecting him now, and he'll use them if anybody messes with him? He just comes out.
Yeah, let me just say this, you know, and I'm not trying to project myself as being this, that, or anything else, but here's the issue. Jimmy feels like he has a right to go and do whatever he pleases. There's an exception to that. He's absolutely right, but there's an exception to that. Jimmy ratted. Now, you don't know if there's a cousin. You don't know if there's another relative lurking in the back. You don't know, all right? So to say that he'll go anywhere he wants to go and he don't care about nobody, well, that's fine. That's fine, you know. But you got to also remember, you bleed like the next guy bleeds. You can get hit in the head with something like the next guy can. I mean, you're not invincible, but you act and you portray this image. I'm going to do whatever I want. So am I. So is Lee Cole. So is everybody else.
Do you think that he's kind of provoking people by keep coming out there?
Yeah, it's the proverbial carrot in front of the horse. You know what I'm saying?
And he keeps poking a legend like Anthony Spero.
But you got to remember too. There's not many guys left anymore, and he knows that. But there are guys getting out now soon. So we'll see how that plays.
Who's getting out?
I don't know. I'm not going to mention names. He knows, but you know, it's not my place to do that.
Now, another thing, Jimmy, a guy took a plea deal because Jimmy was going to testify against him too, and the guy's about to get out of prison. So Jimmy doesn't talk about that other guy he was going to rat on.
No, he only talks about Anthony Spero. That's all he talks about.
Exactly. He doesn't put the facts out there. But
listen. He's found Jesus Christ, okay, along with Michael Franzese, which I'm going to be totally honest with you, and I might get chastised for this. I think people, particularly guys in the life, or guys that had, you know, a long run at it, all of a sudden find Jesus Christ, and they want to be absolved of all their sins, and you know, well, that's Michael and Jimmy Calandra. If it's genuine, God bless you. I don't believe it is. You know what I mean? I think it's a ploy. you know, but that's my opinion.
And that's why I showed that video of Jimmy telling me to go F myself.
Right.
If that's a God-fearing man to you, I don't know what to say, because God
Well,
tells you to
Well,
turn.
he's always, you know, talking about Bible verses and this and that, and I don't know. Maybe he pets Jesus on the table before he goes to bed at night. I don't know.
And people over the next, I'll be getting into other things about Jimmy that we don't know about that have been coming out lately. And Jimmy, you kind of poked the bear back, so now you have to deal with the consequences. And you're not going to come on here. And here's the one thing I know about you, Jimmy: you do not have enough guts to come and speak to Danny and I. You would know better than that. You're because you don't have us wrapped. I did an interview of you a long time ago, Jimmy, and I just was new on this, and I interviewed you, and I thought you were a nice guy, and then you told me that when I was going to do a show on Alan Kaiser, that Sammy didn't want the show done, and you turned on me. That's what happened, Jimmy. I didn't turn on you. You turned on me.
Again,
Sammy
it goes
Gravano.
back to the premise. They don't want you to do something that affects them. I mean, exactly. I don't understand the logic. I really don't. You're on a public platform. It's public. It's not private. Everybody has the right to respond, whether it's the dumbest response, whether it's telling you you're a piece of junk, whether you're a dirt worm, whatever. Everybody has that right. You have no right to tell somebody that they can't. And like you say, YouTube is a slum tube. It's no good. What are you doing on here? I'm sure your revenue that you collect from YouTube is probably the only revenue that you collect, unless your wife supports you. I mean, you don't have a legitimate job, do you? Because you're always on YouTube. So, and you drive a Prius. So
I think he has a job. To give Jimmy credit, I think he does have a job. But Jimmy runs his channel very crappy. Or if he had a real manager, they would tell him not to get involved in these scraps, go on these little channels.
Then I retract the statement. Good for you, Jimmy. You got a job. More power to you.
Well, see that, Jimmy, when we're wrong, we're wrong. You do work. We'll give you that. But the fact of the matter is, you do a lousy job on your channel, because you're going on little channels that a guy like you should not even be near. But you do it because of ego. Say something bad about Jimmy Calandra. It's an ego thing.
Right.
Danny,
well, that's
isn't it amazing, their egos?
Right. I could care less what Jimmy Calandra, Mazza. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks of me, because number one, you can't be me. Not in a million years. What I've done, you couldn't. So with that being said, you could call me small-minded. People gotta talk. You're on a public fucking platform, you idiot. What are they gonna do? We're not supposed to talk? Well, then get off YouTube and go on another platform.
How do you think a guy like Jimmy would have done in the maximum security New York prison, where he didn't have Gene Gotti's chair to put in front of the TV?
Well, listen, I've heard stories about him being in McKean and other places. These are stories. I can't validify that. But listen, Jimmy Calandra wasn't tough by himself. He was tough with a crew. All right. Yeah, he might think he's tough, just like I think I'm tough. You know what I'm saying? That I know what I could do to somebody. And I've been beat up. I love it. I could take a beating. But I'm just saying, don't project yourself like you're this invincible comic book character.
And Jimmy has bodyguards called the United States government.
Well, he says he doesn't. He goes wherever he wants, and he does whatever he wants to do. I'm sure he carries a pistol, because he ain't going to fight head up if somebody, he really feels threatened by somebody. So if he has a pistol, well, I wonder how that's legal, unless he's absolved of all his sins to the United States government.
And which could very easily happen.
Sure.
The government could do whatever they want for a guy like Jimmy.
Right.
Jimmy's probably still giving information to this very day. Anybody that associates with a guy like Jimmy Calandra should know better. But
who knows? But he travels the Brooklyn streets with his phone, and he shows all the spots. People eat it up, and he has fun. It's, it's entertaining, and that's why he has what he has. But something, for some weird reason, my site, especially my website, gets about 500 hits a month from Virginia. Well, you know what's in Virginia.
Yeah. So people
Quantico.
don't think that these guys are watching and they're protecting little bitches like Jimmy Calandra and John Alite. Now, getting back to John Alite, listen, Angel Gotti and I have had our issues, and I'm putting those to rest. But I'm going to tell you one thing: the thing that man did the other day. Not only did he go after John Gotti Sr., but he also went after Angel Gotti, saying some of the worst, horrible things that I've ever seen a man say about a woman.
Because he's a punk. Listen. It's very simple. He wants to get a rise out of the Gotti family. All right. He wants to keep the Gotti's name in his mouth for relevancy. This is what all these people do when they're on a platform. You know what I'm saying? They need the relevancy, because if they don't have that, they have nothing. So this moron, John Alite, who everybody says he's tough, he's this, he's that. Listen, anytime that you have to pick on a woman, you're a punk. You're a punk. I was going to say something else, but you're a coward. You know you're a coward. You know you're a coward. So it is what it is. And if people don't think you are, then there's something wrong with them, just like you.
And well, I'm going to be honest with you. People have gotten on my case because of my little issues with Angel, but I would never say the things that John Alite said about Angel or another woman.
Right, because he has no respect. He has a mother. Does he have sisters? He's got a mother. Doesn't he respect women? I guess not. A guy like that is nothing but a piece of garbage. He's a dirtbag. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he is. And again, let me just say something about Calandra. Calandra, I don't care about your last name. I don't care who you are. I'm not trying to live off you. I could care less. I'm on a public platform speaking my opinion. And if you don't like it, take a walk.
And when you say stuff, Jimmy, as stupid as you just said, and that picture, what do you think of the picture they got with the helmet on his head? Yeah. I mean, is that kind of fitting?
Yeah, Jimmy Helmet Head.
Yeah, I mean, Mob Rats does a wonderful job on Jimmy. See, Jimmy, what you've done is you provoked another show that has a little larger platform to take a good look at you. And this time, Jimmy, I'm not going to walk away from you. And my buddy Danny Trio's here because he's a lot more knowledgeable, because he's actually been around people like you and people that you go after.
But he'll Anthony say, no, this guy's a loser. He don't know nobody. He's a liar. He don't know nobody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Where would these guys be if YouTube did not exist?
Exactly. They would have, they wouldn't have a relevancy. They would have nothing. They would come home, live off their wives or their family, or get a menial job for $15, $16 an hour and just exist, But listen. These guys are so egotistical that will not happen, because they'll find a way. They have to have their agenda out there to the public so people can slap them on their back and say, you're a real man. You're not a rat.
Do you think some of these guys would already be back in prison if it wasn't for the YouTube saving their ass?
Yeah, because it's a learned process. If you know nothing else, okay, and all you know is how to hustle in the street, it's like a guy that does 30 years in prison, they let him out. He becomes institutionalized. What does he know? You know what I'm saying? He knows what he knows inside. He gets his meals at a certain time. He gets this, he gets that, he gets medical. However good it is, it's crap, but they get whatever they want. So when you come out of prison and you got to be responsible and get a job and maintain, life, half of them can't do it.
And Danny, when you got out of prison, how difficult was it for you to get your feet back on the ground?
Listen, it was extremely difficult. But the only thing, and I'll tell you again, the only thing that I had in my favor was my son. And I keep talking about that because that was my decision maker to be a better person. I didn't need Jesus Christ. I didn't need Allah. I didn't need a bag of flowers. I didn't need nothing. I made a conscious decision that I made another life, and I'm going to take care of this life. And that's what I did. So.
And when you see these guys, like all these guys right now that have these shows, and you know that 80% of their stuff is bullshit. Do you think this is just going to continue, that these guys are just going to keep coming out of the woodwork and just keep showing up everywhere? Are we going to get a bunch of
because there's no, when you go on this platform and you become more or less successful. This becomes addicting because it's easy. You put a camera on, you sit there, you talk, whether you tell the truth, whether you lie. People are so, I don't know what the word is. They believe, and because they have nothing in their lives, they have to believe in something. Going back to Jesus Christ, people have to believe in something to but it is what it is. And people will keep coming out of the woodworks because this becomes a successful platform for them. And they can regulate and do whatever they want to do. And whatever's said is said. They have the power to turn the button off or on. And it's easy.
You know, I was described the other day as a guy with a record as long as my arm, living from Texas. I just want to get some things straight. First of all, I grew up in New York City. I lived a good portion of my life in Brooklyn and Yonkers. And on top of that, some of my crimes were with some very extraordinary guys. And just so people know, I've had my issues with Angel Gotti, but Angel Gotti be the first person to tell you I'm not bullshitting you on this. I spent 2 years working for Angel Gotti's uncle, John DiGiorgio. And you know, I'm leaving this for somebody who said that I know nothing about the life. I know a lot more about the life than you people think. I choose to keep it to myself. I'm not Jimmy Calandra. And anything you've done in the past could always catch up to you, unless you're an informant. And that's Jimmy Calandra. That's John Alite. They got a free pass. All of them. They all got free passes. They can say whatever the fuck they want. Can't they, Danny? You and I, we can't.
Listen, again, it goes back to what I said before. Jimmy Calandra says he did his time and he's allowed to do whatever he wants, and that's true to a certain extent. But, what you did, you have to keep looking over your shoulder every day. You don't know. You don't know who's behind you, in front of you. You never know. But to come out and say that people talk about him and this and that, and, they have no right. You got to be, I don't know, you must live in a cloud. You're on a public platform. What gives you the right to tell somebody what they can and can't do?
And what do you think about these cops like Dowd and these cops that have taken Jimmy?
It's the same theory. They couldn't make it as a cop. All right. So they decide to go dirty. And now they have stories, endless stories for years and years. I have no respect for them. You know what I'm saying? Simply because you can't trust them. They'll say whatever they want to say. And they do whatever they want to do. And again,
how about these cops that did retire honorable, highly mentioned and stuff, and now they're associated with Jimmy Calandra, and he's on their show and he's hanging out.
Yeah, because it's something to boost their viewers. It's to boost their their stamina in the slum tube genre. That's what it is, And listen, they're the ones living off his name. I could care less if he dropped dead tomorrow or he didn't. He doesn't affect me. You know what I'm saying? But I have a right to be on a public platform and talk the way I want to talk.
Do you think these cops that retired with honor and stuff that now hang out with Jimmy Calandra should be ashamed of themselves?
Yeah, because they're two-faced. Why didn't you hang out with them before? I mean,
what do you think these cops really in their heart think of Jimmy Calandra?
They probably laugh about him. Look at this jerk job. What a fucking asshole. But if they can gain something by it, whether it's a podcast, viewers, whatever, then they're gonna do it. They're opportunists. They all are.
And just so you know, Jimmy, they don't like you, Jimmy. They're using you, and they laugh at you. And back in the day, they would spit on you. He doesn't
believe that, but that's okay. He's entitled to that. But the fact of the matter is that Jimmy Calandra will be Jimmy Calandra, but don't knock the next guy.
And same thing. Now, John Alite runs around with this Michael Dowd, who's like the lowest of the low.
Listen, fuck John Alite. You know what? John Alite, the more you talk about him, the more relevancy he has. And again, if people stop listening to him because he's a joke, just like he said when Castellano got killed, Gotti called him up and told him to meet him at the Raven night. I mean, how you got to be a moron.
And people believe it.
You got to be.
People believe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think John Alite believes the shit he says.
He does. He believes his own lies,
And I'm thinking right now that John Alite's a new thing. He used to pretend he was Italian when he used to hang out with John Gotti. but now he brags about his Albanian heritage and stuff. But yet it was the Albanians that chased him into the creek and wanted to kick his ass.
Oh, he'll tell you that's not true. That's a lie.
Yeah, and now he says, now he admits it because there's evidence out there. But he says, well, I didn't want to fight, so I just went. But you beat up a bunch of guys with baseball bats, knives, and guns.
But he's tough. You know, he's tough.
Now, a guy like you, say you're in a club, and you have a choice of fighting or jumping in a creek.
I'm going to fight whether I get my neck broke or not. I'm not going to tell some. Listen, listen. It's a rhetorical question, and you know he's a punk. He's a punk, and everybody knows he's a punk, except these groupies that live out in Kansas. You know where you know they have Toto and whoever else. You know what I mean, riding a bicycle.
And explain to us again about the fight that you seen when John Alite got knocked out.
He got knocked out by Victor DiBiase, Coney Island, West 16th Street.
And who was Victor DiBiase?
Victor owned a tow company in Coney Island on Cropsey Avenue.
So was he a made guy or associated? No. So he was just a regular guy.
Just a tough kid that worked hard, you know, had fun.
Do you know what possessed him to knock Alite out?
I came in the tail end of it, but they had bad blood before. There was always some kind of friction between the two. And I don't know what, you know, catapulted the fight, but I do know who ended up on the ground. And
so I guess that John Alite never came back to make it better.
Oh no, but you know his idle threats were, "You're dead. You can't show your face." Nothing ever happened to Victor. Now he's in Florida,
retired and living in a good
nice
life.
Pool, drinking a big thing, a coconut.
Now you still associate with guys that didn't rat that have become your friends?
Yeah, there's a few right down here in Florida that I keep in touch with, and there's two in New York that I'm close with. I'm not going to mention any names.
Oh, right.
But I'm a liar, so just everybody know that I'm a liar.
Well, they're going to call you that, Danny. It's going to be your time to be hit a little bit.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, this is what they do because this is what they have. Do you think that Jimmy Calandra is going to say, "Danny, come on my show"? And
no, you know, he'll clap back, you know, but that's okay. It's a forum. That's what people do.
Would you accept the challenge? Would you accept the challenge from Jimmy Calandra to have you come on his show one-on-one?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you hear that, Jimmy? You can bring on Danny's trio.
I have no problem doing that. You know, civilized, no yelling, screaming. You know, just as long as he admits that, you know, he did what he did and stop the lies and stop telling people they can't talk about him on a public forum. Like I told you, I got a great idea. Get a paid forum, and then you ain't got to worry about the bullshit.
Okay, so Jimmy, Danny Trio is basically calling you out and saying that if you want him, I know you don't want me on, so Danny will come on and talk to you in a civilized manner, and you could discuss these things that you're discussing. So, Jimmy, the offer's out there now. Let's see if you're man enough. You're talking about being a big, tough guy. Be man enough. So let us know whether you would accept Danny Trio coming on your show. When you chop it up on Sunday, when you do your show, maybe next Sunday, Danny knows where you are. He'll drop his face and he'll come on in. So how about that? Because you blocked him already. Didn't he block you already, Danny?
Yeah, but I don't think he realized it, but he did because I said something derogatory. He just blocked.
Yeah, and people say things to people. Why do you? People have to understand. All content creators block people who come in and say horrible shit. Then
that's what I don't understand. You're on a public forum, and if you get a guy that comes on there and says something like "you're a fucking rat" or whatever, or "you're a jerk off," why do you block them? I mean, you know, I get the gist of why you block them, but you know, you have to expect when you're out there and your name is in the light, you got to understand, people could say what the fuck they want, just like you can.
Yep. And you know, the funny thing about this whole thing is you never know what's around the corner. I never knew that Danny Trio was around the corner and was going to help him with my show, and I appreciate it. And Danny,
again, Jimmy, I just want to put this out there. You know, I'm not jealous of you. I'm not envious of you. I have my own thoughts about your ethics, but the fact of the matter is I live my life. I own what I own. So a loser I'm not. Yeah, I did some bad things in my life, but a loser I'm not. But I'm not going to stand here and let somebody say bullshit that they can't say what they want to say. So whatever you want me on your show, we can cut it up. We can call each other jerk offs, whatever, man to man. I got no problem with that. But don't have a one-sided forum. And tell your listeners the same thing, because your listeners think you're the next best thing to bread, and you're not. They should know what you really are, and you should explain that. And leave Jesus Christ out of it. Leave your family out of it. Just you as a man. So I hope everybody has a happy Easter. I got some macaroni on, and I
Okay, I'm
go.
gonna let you go. One quick thing before we go, we want to close it out and say what you got to say to John Alite.
John Alite, do yourself a favor. Disappear. Because you're as relevant as a fucking rock outside here in my yard. You have no relevancy, and stop talking about the Gottis, because you're a bitch, Alite, when you talk about somebody like Angel Gotti, John Jr., whoever else. You're a bitch. So do yourself a favor. Stick your head in the ground.
Well, with that, I'm going to say, Danny, thank you very much. I'm going to close this out.
Happy Easter.
You have a happy Easter, and I appreciate you coming on. Take care and say hi to your family.
Yep.
Okay, people, I just want to thank Danny for coming on today, and you're going to be seeing more of Danny with me. And yes, does he make my show better? He sure the hell does. If you find something that's a diamond in the rough, you know, Danny and I get along good. We have good conversations, and he's very knowledgeable about the life. And while I was around the life at times, I was never made. I was never an associate. Anything I ever did in my life was self-serving for me. And I have done things in my life that I do regret. But when I hear stories like Jimmy Calandra and John Alite, it really bothers me, because these guys, especially John Alite, shame on you for what you did the other day coming on that show like that. I mean, you know, you and John Gotti Jr., my opinion of John Gotti Jr. is this. You could talk about John Gotti Jr. because he's out there. John Gotti Jr., you can defend himself and he's going to come back at you. But here's the thing. John Gotti Sr. has been going for over 20 years. You said something that was totally false. Totally false. You called a man like John Gotti a rat. Shame on you. Who does that? Why would you even think about doing something so treacherous and so low? Because that's what it was. Treacherous and low. Because anybody with a normal mind knows that John Gotti Sr. went and did his time like a man, died like a fucking man. You will not die like a man, John. Especially unless you correct this and say, look, I just threw it out there for fucking entertainment. Because that's what you did. You know, your beefs are with Angel or Junior, they're alive. They could defend themselves. But for you to go after him, and same with you, Jimmy Calandra, shame on you. To try to blame everybody else for Anthony Spero to go into prison. Nobody believed Calco. Calco was a murderer. He was a killer. He had 2 bodies. They could have fought him. You went on that stand and you put him in the cell. And then you denigrate him now? You continuously talk horrible shit about Anthony Spero? Shame on you, Jimmy Calandra. Jimmy, you are very lucky that's not my father. Let me tell you that much. You should just shut up about the man and leave the man alone. Keep mentioning him, saying, oh, the kids in the neighborhood, they wanted to be Anthony. You make it sound like he went out there in his little white truck and grabbed them and threw them in the back. That's not the way it happened, Jimmy. All the neighborhoods, all the kids, John Gotti talks about when he was 15 years old. What did he do? He went toward the guys. He loved the gang. He loved the life when he was 15. John Gotti didn't say, oh, Neil Delacroix grabbed me and made me into what I am. He took advantage of me. He never said that about Neil. But look at you, Jimmy. Shame on you, Jimmy. I know you don't give a shit. I know you're going to come back and rebut this, but you're a piece of shit. Everybody, have a nice one. Please sub to my channel. I hope you like this video. I'm going to drop it now. It's Easter Day. And I was hoping not to drop a video like this, but you can't let two assholes like this take over the weekend with their lies. Take care, people.